Sujin, hey, congratulations for your new film, Hide and Seek.
Thank you so much.
It is one thrilling ride. I do have to admit, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a fever dream, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
just
It is. It
mm.
is. But let's start off with that easy question. What initially attracted you to a project like Hide and Seek?
Well, I am Korean American, so that its Korean roots were a really big deal for me, and it was really nice as a minority woman to find a part that's so pivotal to the story. It doesn't come along every day, and it was super exciting.
And the one thing that when you refer to Korean roots is because this is a remake of the Korean film Hide and Seek. Did you watched the film before you took on the role?
I didn't watch it until after I'd gotten the part and right before we started shooting. I was really curious, so I watched it and I really loved the original movie. And it felt, I mean, it was clearly the same story, but in a completely different context. And so it felt like, like a parent and a child, that relationship between the two movies, more than the same thing in a different language.
Of course, of course.
Mhm.
For yourself being Korean, and I want to say that there is a lot of Korean nostalgia that is happening in the past few years. What do you think about that? I mean, there's going to be a lot more Korean films, a lot more Korean remakes. I mean, this is a great time.
I'm super excited about it. I have not kept up with all of it, Squid Game being the big one that I haven't watched yet, that everyone is going gaga over, but I'm super excited about that. I really liked Parasite. And what I love, I think, about Korean, um, I can't think of the word for it, but the cultural product, I guess, is that it's full throttle and it's not afraid to be a little weird. It's not afraid to be a little extra in this embracing the strangeness of life and humanity. And I'm so excited that that's being embraced more and more by the Western world.
Well, speaking of strangeness, tell us about playing this character, Sumi. How would you describe her?
She is a mom who is doing the best she can for her kid. I think that is the root of where she's at. And I think Joel, the writer director who adapted the original movie, I think he understood that about her. And I love that he had so much compassion towards her. And yeah, it's hard to give away. It's hard to say much more without giving too much away. But I think that is just at the root of who she is. She's life for her kid.
Well, I don't want. I'm not going to give too much away either. But your character, the setting is in a sort of like a what they call it, like a squatter building or a squatter neighborhood, and
Yeah.
so she is in sort of like an impoverished, type of trying to raise her daughter in an impoverished setting. Was it easy to get in that headspace of Sumi?
It was super daunting until the moment I showed up on set, and then it was frighteningly easy. So I don't know what. I was like, this is really hard. This is a really hard character to get into. And then you show up on set and everyone does their bit, the costumes, the makeup, the director, the, set designers, it all sort of comes together and suddenly there's this click and you're in it. And we started, the first day of my shooting was the last scene, the beginning of the last action of the play. So it really felt like jumping into the deep end with her. And I did not know how I was going to do that. Especially, I come from a heavy theater background where we're used to working in a chronological order every night. And but everything came together and I really credit the crew and the director for, making a good soil for the plant to grow.
Well, describe the costumes that you had to wear and the production set that you had to build. I mean, it looked I want to say it looked frightening, to say the least. I mean, I would not want to be caught in a place like that.
It was gross, right? It was just nasty. Well, what was amazing is that a lot of it were these incredible locations, and they're all in and around New York City, so they're not far from here. I think the furthest was the interior of the derelict building that they're in. It's this beautiful kind of estate, you know, an hour or two outside of the city. And what they did to dress that space and make it look so shabby, especially the pool. There's a scene that happens in the drained pool, which I did not understand, that drained pools are some of the creepiest spaces that can exist on its own. And then they dress it, you know, with a little bit of trash, and it suddenly becomes a horrific place. And you can't believe people live like this, but they do all around the world. It's right now.
Wow. When you get into you know, those settings and those costumes, does that help you much more to get into character?
It does. It's not just the costumes, but it's that the consideration that everyone has for their job, the pride everyone takes. So it's the makeup artist thinking, you know, we're thinking no makeup, you know, maybe just like emphasize the bags under your eyes, maybe paint out that vein in your forehead that pops out. And I was like, they're all thinking about it, and they're feeding me, and I think they're all watching the shooting, so we're feeding each other in this way. And it becomes something that's bigger than yourself. It's not just being self-generated, but it's everyone's putting a little bit into the big crock pot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you know, in the industry, they always say never work with animals or kids, but the little girl, I want to say her name is Avril, I believe.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Tell us about her and working with her as she is your daughter for the film.
She's wonderful. She's great. She's a ray of sunshine. I have to give a shout out to her mom, who had to be on set with her every day, who is awesome, and you know, was just so great at navigating her kids. They were both new to this, and I don't know how they navigated it so gracefully. And it was just so nice to have her energy on set. I really, really dug her.
I don't know how young kids actually do this, because these sets seem so scary, and there's like more and more kids doing more scary and thrillers now these days, it seems like.
Joel David Moore, the director and writer, and Jonathan Rhys Meyers, who plays the lead, are amazing with children. They're so kind and so gentle, and they just, you know, get down to their level, and they're like, should we do it like this? You know, they really talk to them like collaborators, and I 100% give it up to them.
I was going to add next was, how was it like working alongside with Jonathan Rhys Meyers? I mean, he's a terrific actor in any type of a, you know, genre.
He's amazing. He's amazing. I am relatively new to that scope of on-camera work, and he's been doing it since he's a teenager and making a living at it. So it's really great to be with someone on set who just knows so much about how sets work on a technical level, and he's so experienced, and he's so invested in it. Everyone cared. He wasn't, you know, just, he's there invested in making this as good as it can possibly be. And so it was really great to have that example.
I know he always put that 110% to any project he works on.
I don't think there's less than 110% from him.
What do you suppose the most challenging thing you had to do on a project like this?
Oh,
I mean, it is far different from a lot of things you've done in the past. I mean, I've seen you in Bachelorette, so.
Yeah, weirdly, I cut my teeth on comedic roles. This happens. I think it was what we just talked about coming in and my first, day on set being this climactic final sequence, and not really having a tangible, kind of more concrete idea of what was coming before it. I'm used to building from the ground up, but that was the most intimidating factor. And then you go in and then once you jump in head first, and that was exhilarating. It was frightening, and then it was exhilarating.
Great. Well, Sujin, let me start wrapping things up. Do you want more roles like this? Sort of like very very difficult. Not, I don't want to say difficult, but challenging and different in for your career, or what's up next?
I do. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, these are the most human roles because I think especially during pandemic, a lot of people have realized how certain spaces in themselves and certain modes in themselves. And I certainly did personally. And I think there's a lot of resonance and kind of simpatico with that. I'm really curious about that, especially with what you brought up in the beginning with Korean culture having this big moment right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a film that's going to resonate with a lot of people, and they're just going to be on the edge of their seats trying to figure out all these twists and turns.
Yeah, it's all you're left at the end of the movie being like, I know these all fit together, and it's just beyond me how it does.
This is great. Well, Sujin, hey, thank you very much for speaking to us about hide and seek. And sorry we couldn't get into spoilers, but they're just going to have to watch this movie.
Thanks so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Next time. Thank you.